Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Akshay. Shall we get going? I'm expecting visitors at 7 o'clock. So, not visitors, I am looking forward to meet, but nevertheless, I'm looking at, I have to meet them. So the timeline is I have to be through by 7 o'clock so that I can meet these people.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So let's get going. And I want to finish off multiculturalism today. let's not drag it. It's not worth it to drag this whole thing. All right, then um, what exactly are we talking about today? We are talking about Will Kymlicka's ideas of multiculturalism. Multiculturalism exists in different forms, as I have already told you, that it begins as communitarianism, and I told you those names of people who were communitarians. Um, the list includes very accomplished scholars such as McIntyre and Alistair McIntyre and after Alistair McIntyre, Charles Taylor, another great scholar. Then you have the two Michaels, Michael Sandel and Michael Walzer. Michael Walzer also has ideas which are multicultural. And Will Kymlicka also, though people associate him with they associate him with multiculturalism, it is not as if Will Kymlicka is somebody uh, who is not associated with communitarianism, because in fact it is communitarianism which is the building block of multiculturalism. Many multiculturalists have been around. Even in Europe, I mentioned Catherine Arno, but we won't be talking about those people. We will stick to the syllabus so that we can get this going and out of the way, uh, because it's not going to be so easy to complete the fourth unit in what should I say? The fourth unit in Western political philosophy. It's got a lot of intricacies. It'll take time. So at least if we get this out of the way, then we just might have some extra time, so to speak, for doing that. And apart from that, in this particular course, I have a worry. The worry is how to teach uh, Ronald Dworkin, because Ronald Dworkin is somebody who's uh, completely, uh, what should I say? He's completely legal and not as political as Jeremy Waldron. And Jeremy Waldron's view of the world is far more Catholic, because how many academicians and scholars of jurisprudence um, will build a theory out of something that a writer like Salman Rushdie talks about. So that is the greatness of Jeremy Waldron. Ronald Dworkin, on the other hand, uh, is somebody who is uh, a lot more intractable, very difficult to understand because of his uh, ideas being steeped in in jurisprudence and legal language. So to make that accessible to all of you, well, I really don't know how good a job I can do. I'll try and do the best, but I'm not going to do him today, so let's not worry about Ronald Dworkin today. But he is going to represent uh, difficulty. So first, let's just talk about what each of these things are. Okay. Um, Okay, so there's another one. He has a bit of inspiration from Rawls. So he even talks about a just uh, framework.
Sir, did he write any book?
Well, Kymlicka,
Yes, sir.
yeah, yeah, he did. I can't remember its name. Um, he wrote not one book. He's written a couple of books. He's written even commentaries on liberalism, um, and he talks about The, he has also written about modern philosophy, foundations of modern philosophy. He has written a book on liberalism, and he has also written a book on multiculturalism, which I now cannot recall the title of. Uh, yeah, so he's written not one, he's written quite a few books. He's written quite a few books.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, he's written books like, this is the same thing with people like Charles Taylor. He has his own philosophy, which he talks about in uh, Sources of the Self. But he also writes a book on Hegel. Uh, then you have Alistair McIntyre, who writes a book on his own ideas. Uh, but he also writes commentaries on American thinkers like John Dewey and Henry James. So they've written books like that. So technically, these are not philosophers. Okay, even Jürgen Habermas, who probably comes pretty close uh, to being called a philosopher in his own right, has written books on others. A book called Theory and Practice, which is on Aristotle and other Greeks. Uh, this is mainly due to the fact that in the Western, or rather yeah, in the Western university system, in order to get what is called tenure. Tenure is when you have become a permanent faculty. You're no longer somebody who is a contract faculty. You need to have at least two books published by university presses, which means, like, in England you have the Oxford University Press. They're there in India as well. Uh, you have the Cambridge University Press, which is not there in India. Oxford is definitely, and uh, out there you have all good universities uh, having their own publishing divisions. Harvard University Press, Stanford University Press, Chicago University Press. So you have to publish books not by any publisher, but by university publishers. And you also need to get your what should we say? Uh, you have to once again uh, you uh, you have to submit these books. It's not good enough if you just uh, write these books and get a university press to publish it, and lo and behold, you have tenure. It isn't so. It is a grind. It is a very, very severe grind. You have to get them published. Then there are many people competing for tenure, and in order to get tenure, um, your books will have to be validated by a committee of experts. Only then will you get uh, a position. Only then you will get a position. It is like that again for promotions. If you have to get a promotion, you need to have a set of articles uh, in order to be promoted. And so you will find that even a towering philosopher of the 20th century, like John Rawls, has had to publish many papers. He's had to publish many papers which are all uh, available now in the form of a book, uh, which is called Rawls's uh, papers and writings. So yeah, so people there have to write books. Uh, Here you can get books printed by anyone. Uh, though if you do go to good publishers, good publishers would ask you, uh, they will not ask you, they will submit what you have presented to them in a form of a book, a manuscript as it's called. And the manuscript is sent to two referees for blind peer review, which means that you have to, uh, your book will have to be cleared by two people who believe that it is worthy of being called a book. Uh, and only then will it get printed. Only then are contracts drawn out. Um, so it's not as if in India there is no rigor of publication. My publishers don't publish until they get clearance from two referees, and I am contracted to them. If I write a new book, I first have to present the manuscript to them, and only when it is cleared will they sign a contract again with me to publish that book. Yeah, so you have to write books, not any, uh, not Telugu Academy Press and things like that, but there are a few what are called accredited publishers. So let's not get into that thing at all. So if you're published by good people, then that carries a weightage. Otherwise, it's not. Yeah. So multicultural citizenship, in my opinion, multicultural citizenship uh, is not a very meaningful category, because you're talking about not just this is how, what was it worded as, right to membership to a cultural group or something. That's how it is worded in your syllabus. Uh, that's what this is referring to. It's not just the citizenship of a nation state, but you also can claim to be a citizen of a cultural group, and this cultural group uh, already has a claim that it requires a special treatment. Why and how, I'll come to it in a minute. If you look at societal culture, now this is another category that flummoxes me completely. Do we have a non-societal culture? I really don't know. Uh, I mean, our being is a social being. Uh, and as you'll see when I talk about the social contract tomorrow, um, I will be talking to you about, uh, I will be talking to you about how there is, what should I say? Uh, um, the social contract is only an experiment. Uh, it is an experiment called logical abstraction, uh, which was first performed by Machiavelli in order to create uh, the Prince, where he abstracted society and talked about politics without society. Uh, and in the case of Hobbes, uh, it's the other way around. He's looking at uh, society without politics when he talks about his state of nature and the necessity for what should I say? Uh, uh, is talking about a social contract. And though they are individualists, you should understand individualism as something that demands autonomy to individuals, and it is not something that ties you down. It doesn't tie you down to a collective and not give you freedoms. Now, the great thing about ancient India is that this particular idea was articulated right in the ancient period. Okay, if you look at dharma, you cannot look at dharma without karma, because you living your life or an individual living his life as per the rules of dharma will make sure that he has sukarma, which is good karma. And if you have sukarma, then you kind of climb up the ladder of life forms, and the final life form is the human being. And you then go on to uh, break the cycle of birth, death, rebirth. So you break that cycle and you become one with the Brahman or the Brahmanda. But the fact that you have a theory of karma basically says that it is the individual who's responsible for his karma. It is the choices that he makes. Are they dharmic? Are they choices which have good consequences? Do they uphold dharma? So, individual autonomy has always been there in Sanatana Dharma, in Buddhism, Jainism. All of them give you individual autonomy, which was not the case with the Western civilization. And I told you these draconian forms of control that existed, uh, the church and the, what should I say, the feudal professional guild, which did not allow you to uh, choose things for yourself. That is what led to this movement called individualism. But individualism does not exist. It is aggressive because it wants to establish itself, but it doesn't deny society anyway. It doesn't deny society. Uh, So that is another thing to talk about. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But this idea of a societal culture, uh, a culture which provides its members with a meaningful way of life across the range of human activities, is a redundancy, and in my opinion, a complete misunderstanding of liberalism, uh, whose critique, critic, sorry, uh, Bill Kymlicka is. He also talks about minority group rights, which are rights provided to special minority groups, and these are not individual rights. Uh, so, who are these minority groups who deserve the special treatment? We'll come to that in a minute. And he also talks for a just framework to the treatment of cultural minority groups. And this is where he is talking about justice as fairness in his own way, not in the way in which John Rawls talked about. This is a constitutional treatment to people by giving them uh, group rights which they can apply to their groups, uh, though it is derived from justice, not ease. I'm sorry. Though it is derived from justice as fairness, it isn't exactly uh, uh, an accurate representation of justice as fairness. It is something which is in the nature of, what should I say, a distortion, perhaps, of justice as fairness. So, now let's try to understand which minority groups are the minority groups he's talking about. Okay, he um, divides culture. So he's talking about national minorities or a nation of minorities. So this is a principle which is also called nationality within a nationality. Okay, so nationality exists not at one level in the state. The state may be one, but nationalities are not one. Uh, he's talking about the possibility of other nationalities, or rather multiplicity of nationalities within the state. So it's not just a nation state. The cultural group is a nation of minorities for him. And then he talks about polyethnic groups. So polyethnic groups are different from uh, national minorities or from a nation of minorities. Let me get to the point quickly. First, let me give you examples. Well, I don't know if it is French, and Quebec is a French speaking place. It should be pronounced Quebecois. But I suppose if it is English, it is Quebecois. I'm not sure of the pronunciation of this, so I'll leave it to you to pronounce it the way you want. And the Aborigines, these are in Canada, a country from which Will Kymlicka hails. And then you have um, is that the correct spelling, or is
Gine.
Aborigines of um,
Australia.
thank you. So what defines these people as national minorities? Uh, what defines these people as national minorities is the fact that they existed in their territories before the immigrant, I would like to call it colonial. Okay, that is not enough. He also says they should have had, mm, how do I put it now? This is, what I call mental gymnastic. They have, no, what? Yeah, uh, they should have been there at the time of founding a nation and should have had a prior history. They should have had a prior history of self governance. If you like, you can put these as points. They should have been there at the time of the founding of a nation, not the immigrant nation, but while their own nation, which precedes the immigrant nation, they should have been there. And this should be, I guess, point number two, that they should have had a prior history of self governance. Um, then, okay, I think that's, yeah, so they should have been there as a nation.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
is these points are these points for first point, national minorities?
Yes.
You can put A, B, C, sir. It will be easy.
Okay. Yeah. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
So they should have been there at the time as a nation. They should have been there at the time when the colonial nation or the immigrant population's nation was being set up, as it is in the case of Canada. Uh, the Quebecois are supposed to be the ones who were already there as a nation, and they had a prior history of self governance, which is the same thing which is applicable to Aborigines of Australia, who are the native population, and the Maoris of New Zealand. They had a way of governing themselves. And he talks about they should have had and continue to have a shared common culture. And the unfortunate part is he doesn't define what this shared common culture is. How does one understand the shared common culture? And then he's saying that they should have uh, a common language that binds them together. Okay, so as per these criteria, national minorities deserve, no, no, what am I saying?
So,
Yeah,
tribes of our India also come under this type of minorities. I mean, national minority.
who?
Also, there are aboriginals of our nation also.
There are no Aborigines in our nation. We have
Tribe.
Adivasis, they are not Aborigines.
Mhm.
We have, we don't have an Aboriginal population. Our Adivasis are, they are still in tribalism, whereas the other groups uh, have moved on. Whereas the Adivasis have remained as forest dwelling communities. So, strictly speaking, we don't even know if they are tribes because our constitution doesn't define what a tribe is. Though the fifth schedule is all about uh, tribes and therefore they are called scheduled tribes, but it doesn't define what constitutes a tribe, and very conveniently leaves it to state governments to decide whether some group is a tribal group or not. Uh, and you take this separate Telangana thing, uh, there you're claiming sons of the soil. Okay, there you're saying that we want a separate Telangana because we are the sons of the soil. Now, please ask yourself this question. Don't look at it like a politician does. Look at it like an academician does. Ask yourself this question: who are the sons of the soil here? The Adivasis are the sons of the soil. Okay? The Gonds and the Rajgons and the various Adivasi tribes that are there.
Koya.
Uh,
Koya is also.
huh? Yeah, Koyas have come out into the open. Yes, Koyas, Chenchus, uh,
Mm.
then you have Konda Reddys, uh, and you have a couple of other tribes in what people call the Manya Sima, which is, there is a belt across, what should we say, uh, starting from Adilabad, okay, starting from Adilabad, this belt goes right up to Srikakulam, right up to Srikakulam. And this is where you find the tribals. They are the sons of the soil, if at all anyone are. Uh, but the funny thing is that what has the old AP state government done? When I say the old AP state government, what I mean is the undivided Andhra Pradesh. They conferred the scheduled tribe category on the Lambadas or the Banjaras. The Banjara, by definition, is a gypsy. They are not sons of the soil. For somebody to be called a tribal, you need to have this whole son of the soil thing. So you're looking at this whole uh, nonsense of people who have come from somewhere else just because 5 generations of people have lived here. Does it mean that you're a son of the soil? You're not. Okay, my whole family, if one of my father's cousins embarked on the project of drawing my family tree, and I don't know, I think he drew 7 generations or whatever. The thing was that the Brahmin community to which I belong, which is the Madhva Brahmin community, uh, it doesn't exist outside of Karnataka. It is something which is near Udupi. Most of the population, Udupi, Mangaluru, that entire belt. So if you are talking about that, if you're talking about that, we are obviously not people from here. We are not people from here. We are not sons of the Telangana soil. And God knows what we were, where we were before ODP. I don't know. I can't say that ODP is a definitive beginning point. So what intrigued my father's cousin, well, he's my uncle, is how did we get our surname Aripirala? in the A.V. Satish Chandra that you're seeing, A stands for Aripirala. Now, Aripirala is a village on the border of what was once the Warangal district and the Nalgonda district. Now, I really don't know the new districts and their boundaries. I have no idea. I don't even want to find out. Okay. So, how did we get this surname? Because Aripirala is a place here. It's a place here. How did we get this surname? If you look at my mother's side, they are again the same people, but they seem to have first migrated to Marathi speaking areas. So her maiden surname is Shyamji Sarkar. If you remember, if you follow cricket, Madam Cricket is not here in the class today. If you follow cricket, there was a very famous batsman called Dilip Veng Sarkar. Okay. So my mother's family became Shyamji Sarkars. They also must have gone from somewhere near that Udupi belt, because the Madhva community is an extremely orthodox, terrible, small community. Okay, so they must have gone from there. But did they live in Maharashtra? I don't know, because they ended up in Berhampur. Okay, they ended up in Berhampur in Odisha, present day Odisha. Telugus call it Barampuram. It is Berhampur, but I believe it is actually Barampuram. And even in Odia, it is Berhampur is the anglicization of Barampuram. So they ended up there. And when she married my father, she ended up here. So what is the sons of the soil? And our laws very clearly say that you inherit your father's this thing. So my father's family has been here, the tree went back right up to somewhere in the 1860s. Till then my uncle could draw the tree and yet not reach the idea about how we became Aripirala. What might have been our surname before. And if you look at that surname, it is about a village. And what is this village even known for? What is this village even known for? And much to our consternation, we have found that there is a sect, not sect, what am I saying? There's a branch of my family which whose surname is Bhaga Nagarapu. And I didn't pay much attention to it. But after some time, I found out that Bhaga Nagarapu came from Bhaga Nagar. Incidentally, Hyderabad was never called Bhagya Nagar. That is a Sanskritized Telugu Pandit's version of what it was originally called. It was called Bhaga Nagar. Why was it called Bhaga Nagar? Because Kuli Qutub Shah, who founded this city, Kuli Qutub Shah from the Qutub Shahi dynasty, uh, he was in love with this courtesan and dancer called Bhagmati. Her name was Bhagmati, not Bhagyamati. There is no name like Bhagyamati. It's Bhagmati. So he called it Bhaganagar, and later when she changed her religion and became Hyder Mahal, or I think she became Hyder Begum. I'm not sure if she became Hyder Begum or Hyder Mahal. I'm not sure of this, but she became one of those two. And so the name Hyderabad stuck on. It was changed to Hyderabad because of the fact that she changed her name to Hyderabad. But otherwise, this was Bahaganagar. And even more to my consternation, I found uh, another scion of my family who till today speak only Kannada at home. We are one of the few families who have given up our Kannada identity and taken on the Telugu identity. They continue to speak Kannada. They know Telugu and all that. But there are a number of uh, branches of my family which speak Kannada at home, Marathi at home. They do. And one of these families, their surname is Golconda Vyapari. Now, the reason why I say I am a little stunned is not because they are from Golconda. Like I said, this is obviously a process of immigration that happened. But these people were Vyaparis. And we say Vyaparis are Vaishyas, traders are Vaishyas. And here are Brahmins, not even local Brahmins. Brahmins have come from somewhere in what is Karnataka today. And they became Golconda Vyaparis. They were a trading community apparently. So I discussed this with my uncle and he said, this is precisely the reason why I was trying to find out why we became Aripiralas. because you can understand Golconda Vyapari, uh, they must have taken on that name because of the fact that it is Golconda is a famous place. It was a rich place, as was Hyderabad. So Bhaganagar, okay. But why Aripirala? I don't know. So that is what he was also looking at. So this whole son of a soil thing that you're talking about, I don't think it is applicable to anyone other than the Adivasis here. The Adivasis, and with the rapid deforestation, I think the Adivasis are also moving out of the forests and are,
Sir, do you think Sentinelist tribe in Andamans, do they will you consider as national minorities?
yeah, maybe if they're still alive. Yeah, definitely. Those people are aboriginal population or the original population. Yes, very much so. Those are considered. The rest in the country, nobody is a son of the soil. Everybody has intermingled, people have gone up, down, and all these
People
kind
in
of.
Tamil Nadu believe that Dravidians are
No, no, no,
original
no, no,
population.
no. Nonsense. First of all, there is no anthropological evidence about Dravidian population. Dravidianism is taken more as a culture rather than uh, racial characteristic. When we talk about Aborigines and the Quebecois and the Maoris, their racial or ethnic characteristics are very different. Um, it is not correct that Dravidians were a race. Dravidians are not a race, absolutely not a race. It's just a culture. It's a culture. It is not even an ethnicity. It is not even an ethnicity. Caste wars with Telugu speaking Brahmins in the Madras presidency region were fought by the Nadars mainly and the Mudaliyars and some of these communities, castes rather. They fought against the Brahmins by saying that you are Telugu Brahmins don't look very South Indian. I don't know if you notice this. They don't look very South Indian, Telugu Brahmins. Quite a few of them are fair. Quite a few of them have features which are not very South Indian. So they fought a caste war by invoking a racial card, which was Aryan versus Dravidian. Now, the Justice Party, the Dravida Kazhagam, the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, and the All India Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, all of these people are not people who are in any way genetically, DNA wise, different from the rest of Indians. What we look at today is that we call the population of India Indo-Aryan. That's what it is called. And I don't think that is also an appropriate name. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think we can simply call ourselves Indians, because once if there is no pure Aryan, why invoke an Aryan name anymore? Why invoke that Aryan? You don't need Aryan. We don't need that. We're just Indians. We're just Indians. So let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. That's why I'm saying this is a I yeah.
Because people are coming at 7, you said. So what about I should shift out of that room? The dogs.
Yeah, but there's 10 minutes more.
And what about dinner? We can't order dinner in front of them.
Okay. Uh all right. There is a bit of a I told you I was expecting someone, and they have come. So we'll continue this tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I'm
Okay, sir.
sorry for the abrupt ending. At least just let me type out this thing that I was. Um, they deserve unique rights from the state due to the uniqueness of their history within the national population. So, national minorities for Will Kymlicka, they deserve unique rights from the state due to the uniqueness of their history within the national population. If it is the Kabakoi, it is within Canada. If it is the Maori, uh, it, it is within the nation of New Zealand. Nation in a nation. That's what this is. This is a nation within a nation state. Now let me not add, then it can be misguiding. They are a nation within a nation. So my apologies again for this rather abrupt ending to the session. I was telling you that I'm doing some consultancy. It's depressing me. It's really depressing me a lot. I wish I could just get out of this whole thing. Anyway, so I'll see you tomorrow morning. And tomorrow evening to finish this. Let's finish multiculturalism tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.